What's up, guys? Watch along tonight. Right now, U.S. Open Cup game versus Minnesota United, round of 16, trying to advance to the round of 8. City SC trying to win this tournament for the first time in their history. We'll see what happens tonight. Olaf Melberg starting lineup is out. I'll read it as follows. We have Josh Yarrow, Conrad Vollum, Shao Klaus, Cedric Teuchert, Giannis Horn, Marcel Hartel, Chris Durkin, Kyle Hebert, Timo Baumgartel, Jake Gerwood-Reich, and Roman Berkey as the starting 11 on the bench. You have the following. You have Benjamin Lunt, Joseph Zielinski, Akil Watts, Celio Pompeu, Tomas Ostrak, Simon Betcher, and Xande Silva. So not a lot of young guys. I posted something a second ago when we were on with Chris Jeppart about talking about the U.S. Open Cup. He brought up a great point. If Olaf puts out a lineup that he'd put out for like the best players he can put out there, then you got to think he's got a little bit extra motivation to win this game. Because think about it. Last Open Cup game, they put out some players that you wouldn't usually see. You put out Joseph Zielinski starting. But now, in this Open Cup game, you said the importance is upped. And why that? That could be that you're facing a better team. Union Omaha is much worse than Minnesota. And it could be that you have extra motivation to win this game because someone told you, if you don't win this game, or if we lose this game by a lot, or if you don't get a point out of this game, or a theoretical point, you don't. I mean, of course, it's a tournament, but if we don't play good tonight, his job could be at risk. And you pull out with a lineup that is almost identical to what you see in the MLS match last week.
I think, Charlie, it speaks to a couple of things. I think the key word for Olaf, and I hate to hide behind the thought or the claim of injuries, but it's best available, right? So without knowing, again, we'll get a chance to talk to Olaf post-game, and my first question is going to be about the bench. You can name up to 9 players on your bench. He's only named 7. It includes 0 center backs at all. So, you're talking like the likes of Baumgartel, Hebert, and Yarrow again in your back 3. They've played, I've lost track now, 4 or 5 games in a row and now on short rest again. So I have some serious questions about what this bench construction should have been. Sylvan Pompeu coming off the bench. Okay, that's fine. You're going to start Hartel and Teuchert in this game, and you're going to give yourself options defensively in Vollum and Horn. I have less of an issue with those two being on the bench as I do as the fact that you just give yourself 0 cover. Like, don't get me wrong, JGR can play center back, so God forbid we get an injury and Yarrow or Hartel or Hebert or Baumgartel go down. We can shift JGR back. It's not the ideal scenario. It could happen. But, man, it's not what I would love to see. No Kessler, so apparently I don't know if he's re-aggravated his injury or if he's being protected. But, that boggles my mind. But also, City 2 was just with us in Minnesota over the weekend. I don't for the life of me understand why you continue to not give yourself options off the bench, at least in depth with the City 2 guy. Even Cam Silly in the midfield, who, by the way, is still eligible for tonight because of his short-term call-up on the weekend. So he should be, in my opinion, on the bench because right now the only options you have in your midfield on the bench as a CM is Ostrak, who, don't get me wrong, I love Tomas Ostrak, but why handicap yourself? I'm just left wondering and clueless is the word. And as far as what you said earlier with Chris and your best 11, I mean, what else are you going to do? You've got your heavy hitters. Minnesota rotated some. They didn't rotate as much as we might have thought, but there's rotation on the Minnesota side.
Well,
so
Chris talked about the bench a lot. Yeah, you see on the bench right now, you're seeing almost a lack bench. Right? You have 2 empty spots in your bench. Which is very odd. It's 2 empty spots that could be taken up by a guy like Tyson Pierce, Mickey Perez, Makai Joyner. Those guys I would assume to see in a U.S. Open Cup tournament if Olaf Melberg felt like no matter the outcome, he'd stay at his position. But it makes me think that he might be feeling a little bit of pressure from his front office and definitely from the media because they reported on it a bit. Not a bit, a ton recently. I wrote 2 articles about it. I know Matt's talked about it on Flyover. I know Luligans have. I know Southhead supporters have. I mean, almost every City podcast has talked about Olaf Melberg's sticky situation here and the fact that he's just not winning. So I'm going to go through real quick. U.S. Open Cup round of 16 did not start tonight. It started last night. Chicago beat New England 3-1 in that game. You had Eric Klein scoring an own goal for the Revolution. So it was a goal scored by a Revolution player on his own net. That was 1-0 Chicago. And then Hugo Cypers with the second goal, and Philip Zickermagel with the third, Justin Reynolds with an own goal to give Revolution 1. But it's a 3-1 win for Chicago. And then the other game that happened last night was San Jose versus Portland, and Skahan scored in the 116th minute after extra time in that game to give the Quakes the win. So the Quakes move on, Chicago moves on. And what you see on that side of the bracket, I think they'll play each other, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be Chicago and San Jose. And the winner of this game for St. Louis will either be the winner. It will be the winner of the Washington, D.C. United and Charlotte game. So that will be, you're either going to play D.C. or Charlotte if you win this game. Of course, Charlotte the favorite, and that is D.C. has been floundering a bit. According to FOTMob, 38%. That's surprising. 43% of people on FOTMob.com say that they think DC United is going to win. 38% say they think Charlotte's going to win. And 19% say they think it's going to be a draw. Let's quick talk about, Jeremy, the formation that you think City's going to come out on. The whole season they've really played a type of version of almost a 5-4-1, but with that 5 back. More like a almost like a 3. I wouldn't even know. It would be 3-2.
It's going to be a 3-4-2-1 is what the roster. If my lineup is what we're going to see, it's a 3-4-2-1. Your back three of Hebert, Yarrow, Baumgartel. Your 4 midfielders from left to right are who did I throw on the left? Giannis Horn, who's technically a wing back, but it's a 4-man midfield. So Horn, Durkin, JGR, and I think Conrad Vollum is going to switch over to the right side. Then you're going to play 2 underneath Klaus, those 2 being Marcel Hartl and Cedric Teukert. And then, of course, your main man up top, your striker, Zhao Klaus, your number 9.
Don't always trust FOTMob, guys. This is Josh Yard.
They're high.
At the right.
They've smoked something. That is way wrong. Durkin's not a winger. Teuchert's not playing out wide. Horn's not a center
Josh
midfielder.
Yarrow up on the front line, too.
JGR's not. Yeah, no, they don't know what's going on.
I think in this lineup, you're going to switch JGR and Horn. Or you're going to put Yarrow.
Mm-hmm.
You move Baumgartel to the left. Yarrow's going to be central. Here, I'll make a little lineup maker.
I'll say if you want, you could just share the graphic I threw in our WhatsApp. That's probably the easiest way. It's pre-made, and you could share that because unless you're going to do yours and talk about something different. But
we'll do both. How about that?
Yeah, it's whatever you want to do, man. Like I said, I think it's interesting. Minnesota, while you're pulling that up, Minnesota did rotate 7 of their 11 for tonight, but they do have a strong bench as well. That includes the likes of Olawashe, who scored at the weekend too. So, it's going to be a test, but I think there's enough room and enough disparity between the lineups that I do think you could see a win.
FOTMob is all right. FOTMob's good for mostly stats. I look for FOTMob, and I reference FOTMob and SofaScore usually. Hey Mo, how's it going?
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me because this lineup is interesting, and
yeah, for sure.
I'm like my title say, I'm somewhere at Lufius Soccer Complex.
Yeah. So Ryan, I like to use both. I like to reference both to see if there's any disparities, and if there is, I usually go with SofaScore.
So I'm on the flip side of that. I use both. I use SofaScore for specific statistics, but not a lot. Like the big thing I rely on SofaScore for is your entries into the final third, the things that FOTMob doesn't track. But in terms of a lineup, honestly, they have the exact same thing on their site. So SofaScore's lineup right now on their website's just as bad. So like I said, I think it's that's the lineup that I've posited that I think we could see. And Charlie, your differences were
the only thing I'll say is I'll make mine in a second, but I'd say you'd switch Hebert because Hebert likes to play on that right side usually with Baumgartel, usually on that left. That's the only thing I'd personally switch, but I'm going to make mine real quick.
And yeah, so I don't know. And so Mo, I don't know if you've seen the 11, but do you have thoughts on what that lineup might look like, or on things you would have changed if it was you?
That's a loaded question, but
it is.
There's two things that came to mind, especially for this one. Yes, based on the roster, you can tell that he's going for the win, but the starting lineup looks more way too defensive, if you ask me. Even by seeing Bogaro and Horn, they're a little bit more defensive players, but they most likely will be playing on the wings. So my thought is, it's how historically this season we're like playing our best football until like the 65 to 67 minute, and then everything goes down from there.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this starting 11 is more like we're going to start sound defensively, and then that's when we'll have Silva and Sergio comes towards the end of the game to then start kind of pressing those guys for the final, say 25 minutes or so.
I would say if I had to guess here, I would say it'll be. Let me put Berkey on here because, of course, he's starting tonight. But I think I'd rather see. I mean, like this is what I think they're going to come out in a way. They're going to have Baumgart's on the left side because he's been the left center back, the left middle center back, kind of in a way in his positions. And then Yarrow, of course, in that central position. Hebert's played as a right wing back a couple times this season, so I see him going to the right side. Giannis Horn over on the left side because that's where he's had his stay. Vollum only on the right because Horn's over there on the left. Horn has spent more time on that left side than Vollum has at a wingback position a little bit. So I think Vollum gets shifted to the right. You have Durkin at his natural right, central defensive midfielder on that right side. And then you got Gerwin Reich kind of sat in as another defensive midfielder there. You have Cedar Toyshirt on the left side and Marcel Hartel on the right. That's what I've seen the past couple games is that they've had Hartel on that right side, maybe to help with a little bit of transition game or that the defense has been really shaky back there. And then, of course, you have Klaus up top. I think I could see something like that happening tonight. The only thing being different is that Jeremy said, predicted that Toyshirt would be on that right side instead of Hartel. So them switched, and Hebert and Baumgartel switched, as well as Durkin and GGR. But that's mine. Of course, you're basically just grasping at straws here. It's the same thing because this formation means basically nothing once a game gets going. You're going to have to play different positions. You're going to have to play different type of things. And it's going to have to work out in the favor of City, hopefully, tonight.
Yeah, but it doesn't show us that players have that much creativity once they get on the field, or freedom to be creative. Because if you look at them, that's why they have like the hesitation shots, or they always look back to one of their, center back to help them out. I have not seen it yet, though. That I guess players are kind of taking their own way of playing and kind of try to take over the game.
I don't disagree. The thing that we've heard Olaf preach about all season is flexibility, right? People that can move around, play multiple spots. And I'm not sure. We see that with Vollum. We haven't really seen that with a lot of the other guys that are in the lineup. Hartle, I suppose, dropping in as a 6 from time to time, maybe. But outside of that, and I know Hebert can move around, but yeah, I just don't see a lot of game breakers in this lineup. Yeah. I don't know. I'm nervous about this now.
Yeah, and my problem with the now that at first when I heard the versatile player that can play 2 or 3 positions, I kind of liked it when I first heard it. But then you have to figure out, are the players that are playing 2 or 3 positions, is it something that they would naturally they played before, or that's something that's just being introduced to them now? That's the problem I see with having players having to do too many positions. Um, if
Well,
they would,
and
that's the problem. I mean, we don't see Tucker. It's not here to play in defense as much, right? Some of these guys should be more offensive minded and let midfielders and the defenders do a little bit more of that. Versus we're all going to defend as a team. Because I think that one I kind of scratch it from now on. Because
yeah,
it's not working at this time because we don't have the players that were the runners like we used to. We have more creative players now and less, how do you call it, those like B workers or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, all I'll say is that I hope this team in red plays better than the other team in red today. Manchester United losing 1-0 to
did we
Tottenham
really
Hotspurs.
do we have to go there, Charlie? I was in a good mood because I get to talk with my friends about St. Louis City. It was a momentary lapse from being pissed off about the mess that I watched from Bilbao.
Well, I'll say this.
Charlie.
I mean, it's national soccer news. Tottenham Hotspurs with the first
Sorry,
trophy.
Jeremy,
Their first hardware in 17 years. That's big news for Tottenham.
17 or 20?
I thought it was 17. I saw 17.
Hey,
Do we really look? We don't
Jeremy,
care. Chelsea's winning the Conference League. We don't care. London is blue. We don't care.
Oh yeah. That's not even a question. We won more titles in the past 5 years than they've done in 20 plus years. But Jeremy, I'm sorry to say that, but everybody that's in the Premier League fans are pissed off at you guys. You guys messed it up because the Spurs were supposed to be the team that we laugh at that says you do not have a trophy. But guess what? You've taken that away from us forever.
Blame Luke
Showdown, I know you're
Andre
enjoying it.
Iguodala.
You know, we're on the same. Showdown. I think he's happy. We'll give you that. But
we outspurs Spurs. Luke Shaw with an own goal. That's it. They had 2 shots in the first half, 1 in the second. They win on an own goal by Luke Shaw.
So they pulled a Sporting KC game.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Basically they had 3 more shots than SKC, but they won. I mean, my God, guys. Yeah, it's a miserable feeling. It's an absolutely miserable feeling. The only thing I had to look forward to from United this year, they dropped the ball on. They go undefeated in the Europa League up until the final. Bottlers, you want to call them Bottles United? That's fine. There's more conversation now on if Amarin is the guy, do you let him go?
No,
I mean, this is a city show, but my goodness, guys.
Okay, I'll say this real quick. So
territory.
there is a total of 6 U.S. Open Cup games happening tonight. Those games come as followed. You have DC United versus Charlotte at 6:30. St. Louis City, of course, versus Minnesota United Minnesota United at 6:30. And just 10 minutes, New York Red Bulls versus Dallas FC at 6:30. Orlando SC versus Nashville FC at 6:30. Philadelphia Union versus Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC, the only USL team left. And then the last game of the night will be Austin FC versus Houston Dynamo FC at 8 p.m. That's just an hour and a half away. So 10 minutes from the official coverage of this game, we'll shift from our pregame coverage to our watch-along coverage. You guys will watch the game. We'll watch the game. We'll talk about it. This is going to be super fun, okay? I want you to tell your grandma you haven't spoken to in 20 years that Top Corner Talk is live right now, okay? We are live. Tell everyone right now, everyone you've ever met, that one, your crush from 2nd grade, I don't care. Tell her that Top Corner Talk is live because this is important. This is good stuff. Oscar is on the way. He's actually here right now. Here's Oscar as I say it. Speak of the devil. But I mean, he is here. We are here. It's going to be a great game to watch with friends, no matter the outcome.
So, Oscar, what are your thoughts on the lineup, man?
Hey, I mean, it's kind of strong. I think his is actually even if it's the way that we're thinking it's going to be. It's actually balanced in both sides. Especially we're gonna put Wallem on the right and Horn on the left, so it's kind of like a good progressive players on the sides. But I mean, it all depends how we perform. I mean, we can get that transition going between JGR and Durkin in the middle. Then we might have something good going on in forward, but if we sit back too far in the deep block that we all love, sarcastically, then we might struggle because we're just gonna put 5 on the back and then we're just gonna sit back. Then it's not gonna work. So let's hope that is different.
Oscar is more optimistic than me. That is weird. So Charlie, we have it in recording.
I mean, I think
Except
like our formation seems okay. I mean, it doesn't seem like, hey, we're not gonna have any balance or we're not gonna have an outlet. But at the same time, like, this depends how we're gonna play it. So
I mean, I'll say this,
and then we're gonna see what Minnesota brings to the table because they do have some mixed lineup too, but they have a very quality players in there. So if
And
they're
on
gonna
the
put the
bench.
pressure on us, I think we're gonna have a lot of trouble getting out of the back.
I'll say this. It's a weird day today, okay? Tottenham won a trophy. Oscar's optimistic and Mo is not. What's going on?
Can we just forget the first part and focus on the Oscar Mo problem, please?
No. Jeremy,
What's happening?
We're still doing.
I don't know. It seems as though Jeremy it doesn't like Tottenham very much. He's not a fan for an underdog story.
Oh wait, Tottenham won again 2.
Shut up.
Hey, wait,
I hate you guys.
who was the team was playing with Tottenham today?
Oh, yeah, United.
No
yeah,
glory, glory, man united. No glory, man united. No glory, glory, man
Wow.
united.
Wow.
No
The Reds
glory
choke again.
for you, Jeremy.
This
Let's
is
hope
getting
one
good.
of the red teams Jeremy roots for can grab a win tonight. And it's the team in
Uh-oh.
City Red, St. Louis City SC. We can hope
Mercy.
and pray they win this game starting in just 7 minutes, folks.
Daniel Guevara with a nice count there. 8 of our 11 starters are in tonight. So of the first 11 that you would think Olaf would have week in, week out, 8 of them are there. And I don't know, Daniel, if you counted that. Chat City Tactics is normally the guy that's doing that. So I haven't seen his X lately, but nice shout there from you, Dan. I appreciate the stat and the insight. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting match, guys. I do like Oscar's point about the balance there. You have two sides, and I wonder why we haven't done that more often, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I think Akil Watts has some talent and some skill, but it begs the question, if this is your strongest 11, why have we not seen Wallum on the right more? That's one question I do have, but maybe we don't get that answer tonight.
I mean, we always saw that the good minutes that Wallen, the best minute Wallen have this season, were on the right wing. They were the first 10 against Kansas City, and then I believe the first 15 in the following game. And then injuries happened, and then Wallen was forced to move somewhere else. But instead of us putting somewhere else, someone else, and then leaving Wallen in that good positioning, we decided to get 2 players out of position to make those subs. So we'll see if the things that we're thinking is the one that he's going to place, because knowing Olaf, maybe we see all this and then Wallen's going to play center mid and JGR plays right wing. And I mean, knowing him is going to be something that it's not going to be.
I want to say this real quick. Me and Jeremy had a great conversation about an hour long with Chris Jebhart from STL Soccer News, and it was amazing. He taught us all about the Open Cup. If you want to know more about the Open Cup and a little bit of his insight and his knowledge and what he does over there and the charity that he runs and the charity competition that he runs regarding St. Louis City and stuff like that, go check out the episode of me and Jeremy did yesterday. It's a good one. I guarantee you, probably the favorite episode I've done so far with Top Corner Talk, just to hear from an outside perspective and just learn more about this historic tournament that City will be taking. That the City will be taking part in of the round of 16 in 4.5 minutes, folks.
So somebody asked earlier, I forget, it was Ryan Fraley, I think, about SofaScore. On the SofaScore win percentage, we're at 9% of the fans voting on that.
FOTMob has us at 18.
Yeah, so the win percentages for us are not looking good. I don't know what the Vegas odds are. I'm not a betting guy, so I don't understand them anyway. But But yeah, no, it's Chris. To your point though, Chris is super knowledgeable. I learned a lot about the history of St. Louis soccer. I had no idea that the first professional women's league even started here. So all the talk of the NWSL and getting a team in St. Louis, there's reason for it. I didn't know that until last night. So yeah, a lot of fun with Chris. But guys, tonight's going to be fun. We're nearing kickoff, about 4 minutes away from the scheduled kickoff time. I know, did we make predictions? I know I threw one out on social media the other day with a 1-1 with going 1-1 with a win in penalties. Do you guys have any thoughts or predictions for the game tonight?
I said 2-1 City. Optimistic.
Okay. So Charlie's going to win. I've got to win on penalties. Oscar or Mo?
My app, I put 2-1 losing. So
okay.
But this was before seeing the lineup, so I mean, I don't know. Let's go for a 1-1 and see what happens with PK.
Okay. And I guess on the app I put 2-1 win City as well.
All right, so it sounds like three of us are optimistic, and Oscar's reverted back to saying no. So I think we're getting more to normalcy, so we can be normal and just forget about what happened in Bilbao and focus on City. I think that's what I'm hearing.
That's fair. And Aaron says 2-1 City in AET.
Added extra time.
Added extra time. My bad. Celio scores
Or,
at the bench, he says, or PKs. So we have predictions. Ryan.
Ryan or Xander.
I would like to hear a couple other people in the chat. Daniel, Ryan, and STL City showdown. What do y'all think? What do y'all think the final score is going to be?
Don't ask Daniel.
Hey, don't ask Daniel. The rule should be Daniel's not allowed to make a prediction until he comes on the show. No, but in all seriousness,
I like it.
So hey, are either of you, anybody surprised we don't see Pompeu or Silva starting? Is that because I know we've talked a lot about it? Anybody surprised there?
Extremely surprised.
He should be starting.
I mean, I see it differently because he has a lot of pressure in it, so he's going with what he knows. He's going with his main three on the top that he wants to. He has been basing his season so far, right? Like Hartel, Twitcher, and Klaus. So I don't see a surprise that Celio is not starting or Silva, because he was not going to add those two players on the wings, knowing that they do not trail back. So because you had to have someone that trails back for his system, for his set mind. So he needed Horn. Obviously, was a no-brainer if he was available. So it seems he's available. And then, if we think correctly, then Wallen will be the one that he will play on the right wing. So he will track a lot more back than what Silva, we saw it last game, that he didn't want to track back. And then Celio, that he does a lot better than what Silva has shown. But at the same time, Celio, we know he struggles on tracking defenders when they're consistent. So
I was thinking the other way. I would have thought that if his city's on fire, I would have thought maybe he would have tried something different, because if you're playing safe because you think you're in trouble and at risk, but your starting 11 has not shown that they can actually score goals, so you're pretty much going back to what you're secure on doing, but has not worked.
But what happened against Omaha?
Yeah, but that's there. It's a whole different level.
Third tier team. You can't use that as a barometer for how you expect them to do.
I'm saying what happened. No, what happened to Omaha, because we started Celio and Silva. They didn't score.
Yeah, but at least there was a lot more ball going forward and dribbles, and actually we were like on the edge of our seat, like seeing what they were about to do, right?
Because it was Omaha.
Yes, but now if you think about it, these guys now, most of the time you're still sitting, and then you're like, all right, he's going to make a 5-yard run, and then he's going to look back and he's going to pass it back, right? But for Celio and Xander, you're like, oh wait, he's about to take him on, and if it does not work, then he revert back to the center back or whoever is behind him. So I think that's the one part that I'm missing, is like everybody's not happy at this moment, right? So you want to put a little bit of that excitement in it. And those guys that will bring that excitement are actually on the bench at this moment. That,
Well,
that,
But don't you think like if he puts something different, then everybody will start saying, "Oh, he's not going for it," because
can you say that again? I
you
think
know
you
how
kind of
St.
cut.
Louis, you know how St. Louis fans are that they are. Oh, you need to go for this cup, and you have to try to make the best of the run. So, like, if you don't put your full starters per se, then they're gonna start saying if something goes bad, they're gonna start saying, "Oh, it's because you didn't want to win this game and you put not the starters." I
Yeah,
understand the perspective of having the two that they have been most dynamic because they have been Celio and Asante, but it's also they have not scored. Well, I mean, Celio scored a banger against Kansas City, but
well,
like
let's be
it's
honest. No
been
one has scored, right?
inconsistent, right?
Our defenders, isn't it? Hilberg has 2 goals, right?
yeah.
But and I think that's the other part that we're also thinking, right? So are we thinking more defensively still? Because it looks like we're still planning on giving the ball to the opponent a lot more, which will increase the chances of us having mistakes happen in the back line. Don't you think so? Yes, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that. Guys, Union Omaha was the first win of this tournament for St. Louis City SC. We got to hope in a matter of seconds when this game starts, Minnesota will start to become the second team St. Louis City SC beats in the U.S. Open Cup. The stream has started. They're in Minnesota talking about the game. We're going to go to commercial, come back, and have the kickoff, I believe. This is exciting.
Yeah, looks
One
like there's
thing
some
that
rain up
I'm
in Minnesota.
nervous.
Yeah, you nervous, Oscar? What's up?
One thing that I'm nervous is that we have Horn that is coming back from injury. Birkin's coming back from injury. JGR is coming back from injury. And those are 3, especially like right in the midfield, that there's 3 that are they going to hold? Are they going to hold the 90 minutes? Are they going to hold 60, 70 minutes?
At this point, the question of holding 90 minutes, I don't put that on any player at this moment. Fortunately, they've shown us that they do gas out. So now the question will be who's going to ask to be subbed out first.
Well,
I mean, I'm okay if they gas out.
Well, but who comes in? Your bench is Betcher, Lund, Ostrak, Pampeu, Silva, Watson, Zielinski. So you've got a couple guys that can play multiple spots, I suppose, on your bench, but there just isn't a lot of depth, especially at center back. So
yeah, that's the scary one. That's the one that I'm afraid because yes, we know. So we have one injured player that coming back. Then we have Josh that's having problem in the playing center back. So if that mental breakdown happens, what's going to happen next? Like, and if Durkin, I'm sure he's not going to go 110% like pre-injuries because he probably will still have that in his head. For his full-blown tackles, I don't expect him to do those just yet. So there'll still be that hesitation.
I was just reading something I was reading something on Blue Sky that someone said, "Do you think they're gonna put Heaver as a right wing back?" And I'm like, "That's literally what's gonna happen."
I hope not.
With the way
Like,
that
I
they
hope
just
not,
show
but-
the lineup, it says that he's going with a 4 back. It says Baumgartel, Hebert, Horn, and Yarrow are all defending. Durkin, Gerwood Reich, Marcel Hartel, and Conrad Valen being midfielders, and Toyshirt and Klaus being the forwards. US Open Cup, the Paramount Plus feed has it being a 4-4-2.
They're always wrong.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
All right.
But yeah, here
But
we go.
hey,
Kickoff
here we
here.
go.
Very empty
I'm
stadium
gonna
for Minnesota. Here we go. The game is off. Klaus. Send it to the left. Round of
There's
16.
Timo is on the right.
Yeah, so it's Timu on the right. So Jeremy, you were
All
correct. I was wrong
entire.
there.
All good.
So we
So
got
Jeremy
the
was
three on
right.
the back,
It's
correct.
Hebert on the left and Timu on the right.
Yeah,
Guys,
it looks
just real quick,
I have to
if
pull
you
my
could-
other phone.
we just talked about the history that women's soccer has in St. Louis. I just made a quick petition to try to get some people to sign to maybe get some attention from the NWSL to maybe bring a team here. Little petition on my X to bring an NWSL team here just to show how much support people have for women's soccer. So if you want to go check out my X, it's on my little thing, and sign up for the petition if you want to see some women's soccer.
Charlie, you don't have to tell them. They already know because Casey Current has what 2 or 3 players from St. Louis, and one was a teenager.
So we've got a high press early, guys. A lot of pressure there, right on the ball in the offensive third. You know, City really looks like they're trying to start aggressively so far. With JGR giving away the early foul in their third, but yeah, early on we're pressing at least.
But guys, you guys were talking about women's soccer. Actually, for the WPL, there's actually a game that's about to happen between Junction FC and Lufuse.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah, and we're talking. There's like probably talking about just women's soccer and history. I think on here, out of those 2 teams put together, I think there's at least 22 Division 1 girls that are about to play for the summer.
Wow.
From both teams, from Illinois and St. Louis. So, yes, we're stacked. So I'm gonna have to watch a little bit of it before going home.
Hey, absolutely. I don't blame you. I would check it out for sure. Some decent possession from City early on here, guys.
Yeah.
It looks like we're getting. So the thing to keep in mind is that Minnesota is like the lowest possession team in the MLS. So I'd expect us to have much of the ball tonight, just like we did at the weekend. So that's what we're seeing early on. Minnesota really is not coming out to press aggressively, just kind of letting us hold the ball. But
not yet.
They forced a good turnover.
There we go. Hartel gives it up. Here comes Minnesota off that right side. Intercepted by Yarrow. Gives it away again, and Hebert will collect and clear it out back to the midfielder. Here comes Chris Durkin. He's fouled, and there will be a call. City ball.
All right, guys. So I'm going to drop off a little bit, and I'll be back with a normal background. Look at Oscar get company.
Hey, Oscar.
Sounds good.
Got the biggest hand over here. Hey, just FYI, I'm behind, so most likely other people will be behind. So don't commentate like straight on the line.
Okay.
So I'm at 317 or 19 now.
I'm at 325.
327.
Yep.
All right, so you guys are way ahead.
Behind
All right.
5 seconds.
All right, so I'm gonna drop off, and I'll see you guys in maybe second half or sooner than that.
All right.
Sounds
good, Mo.
Have fun. Go Menu.
Will do.
Thanks, Mo.